Welcome back, guys. Let's talk about color briefly, and all I want to do now is to add a new page. I'll name it color and color picker. So what this does is that it's simply a color kind of tool. Let's say we are working on anything. This left panel, this your right side panel, changes whenever you click on a toolbar. So whatever toolbar you clicked on will determine this side panel. So right now you could actually create a frame. So when we create a frame, so we could say we are creating a frame for iPhone 16 Pro, and we have the frame right here. So the first thing you could do, you could change the frame color. Color works in different ways. So you could change the frame color. You could choose the frame. How do you change the frame color? You come right here, these are your layers. You come right here to your layers to select the frame. So when you select the frame right here, you're going to be able to change the frame color. All you have to do is to come to the fill, and in the fill you'll be able to change the frame color from the fill. So let me just choose the fill right here, and let me change the frame color to like a red. So you could change to like something like this pink color, and here we have the frame color change. But we have something called color picker. So let me draw different shapes right now. So let me draw different shapes. So I could draw something like this, a rectangle, and I could choose to duplicate this with Ctrl D, and that gets duplicated. And I could choose to duplicate this with Ctrl D, it gets duplicated. So I could choose to give this one a new color. So I'll come to the fill right here, and I'll use the fill to change this color. So I could give this like a purple. So let's say I'll give it like a purple right here, and let me choose this. I'll give this like a yellow. So I'm going to just take this to this direction, to the yellow direction, and I'm going to give it like a yellow. So yes, I have a yellow right there, and let me give this like a green. So I'm going to use the fill again to give that a green. All I have to do is to come this way, and I have to take this to somewhere like this, then I give that a green. So right now we have different color right here. So what I want to do now is to use the color picker. So to use a color picker, let's say you want to change this yellow element, all I have to do is to come to my fill. This pen like is called color picker. So all you have to do is to use this pen like to pick a color. So you could choose any color you want to pick. You could change to like a black, because a black was there. So if I point it at this green, it changes my color to green. There are different use cases for this color picker, which we'll talk about when we start designing. And here we have the color code. So you could change your color code from X to RGB. So we have X color. If you don't know what that is, we have X color code. Yes, we have X color code. That's one color code we have. So you could have X color code, and right now you see your X color code. Okay, let's take this color code right now. So let me just try to copy this color code. All I have to do is to copy it, and let me go and paste it on Figma. You'll see that the color changes to this. So let me just copy this, and let me come back to Figma. So right here, I'm trying to choose this color. I come to my fill too, and right now this is RGB. I'll change it back to X. So I'm going to change the X color code. Let me give this the X color code, and let's see what happens. So let me just do this. Yeah, I'll use Ctrl V to paste what I have here, and here we are. So I'm going to just enter, and it changes their color to this X color because I just used this color code. And that's something about color code, and we have different color codes. So not just X, we have RGB color code. So you can come to RGB, and let's say RGB color code. So right here we have the RGB color code. So you could check the colors in RGB. The short form for RGB is red, green, blue. All colors you see in this live are made of red, green, blue. All color you see on your screen are made of RGB color. You can mix your RGB right here. This is an RGB calculator. You can mix it right here. So it says every color from red, green, blue are always 255, 0 to 255. So all you have to do is to just tweak the value, and right here we can get different color code and different colors. So you could start tweaking colors from here. So when you come here, okay, let's try to tweak something like this. This will give us a yellow with the mixture of 255 of R, which is the red, and 199 of G, which is the green, and 0 of blue. You get a yellow. So let's do that. Let's do 255 1990. So come back to your Figma and change this to 255. Yes, and the green will be 199, and this will be 0. So we have a yellow. So that's what it means. So that's the RGB color code. Then we have the HSL. So you have different color code right here. So from RGB you could use CSX, So CSS will still show us something like this. So you could get a CSS color code as well. For this is majorly for developers, so you could get an HSL. So you could see 150 100. So coming back to the RGB, you see this is 50 100 50. So this one could be changed to 47, but right here we are having the HSL 4750, as you could see, and this will determine the opacity of the color. So that is basically what the HSL color code is, as you can see from there. And the other color code we have is HSB. So the HSB, so let's say the HSL was the HSL, so you could say HSL, you see what it means. It's always about the hue, the saturation and lightness. Then when you say HSB, it's still the same color model, is still hue, saturation and brightness. So these are the things you have to take note. So it's all about hue, saturation and brightness. And yes, so we have all those, and those are color codes. But there's something again called gradients. So you could create a gradient. So for instance, I have this particular color, this is fill. All I have to do now is to add another color. I could add another fill on it, and when I add another fill, it gives me this fill. So all you have to do is to click on this color. So you could actually add two colors. So what we want to do now is to choose this color, and I'll try to give it a darker. So this fill could be changed and you could give it more percentage, but right now when you have two colors added, it gives this a darker layout. So you could see the more darker side I go, it gets a darker layout. The more lighter side I go, it gets a lighter layout. So I could choose to remove that with this minus. This dash remains removed, so I could remove that, and that has been removed. But there are different color models. So you could come right here. This is the solid color, which is a single color spectrum, and this is a gradient color. So you could choose to give a gradient color. Gradient color makes you have two colors. So this is the first color, which is a yellow. You could change this to like a blue. If you are used to design already, you know what gradient colors are. So right now I just chose this to blue, and let's see what we have. So right here I just did that. You could add more gradients if you want to. So you could add more gradient right here if you want to, but I could remove that. And right now we have something like this. So you could actually rotate your gradient, so you could do more things with this gradient. So look at me trying to use the gradient to create something. So you could create magic with gradient, as you could see. So it depends on where you want to rotate it. So you could do more with gradient as well. So we have gradient color, not just solid color. We have gradients, and you could change the gradient from linear to radical. So there are different modes for gradient colors. So there's radical, there is, as you could see, there's radical, there's linear, and there's angular. So when you see angular, you see something like this. So you could create an angular color gradient, as you could see. So we have something like this as well, and you could just click on it. All you have to do is come to fill, and you could change all those in no time. So you could change to diamond, and you could see diamond is this way. So you could see something like this, and that is diamond color spectrum. So we could change that to diamond gradients, and there are other color that you could take from images. So when you bring in an image, the color changes right there. So let me just bring in an image of myself. So let me just bring in just an image that would do the justification. Okay, let me bring this system image of mine. So I'm going to bring in that. I'm just going to upload the image right there, and having to upload it, I'm going to have it right now. So you could change the exposure of the image, you could do a whole lot of changes to the image, and that's what I'm just doing right now. So you could have something like this and do a lot of exposure to the image. So that's the type of color. So you could say fit, and you could say crop, and you could say tie, and you could say fill. And right there we have the image. So you could replace your color to, you have professional team, you can add videos. But let's go back to our fill, and here we are. So you could add a color picker, you could use a color picker to pick a color. Well, we're going to still talk more about color, and you could do a frame color as well. So we have a layer color, so you could use your stroke to add a stroke to whatever you want to add. I've spoken about stroke before, but let me talk about it again. So you could use the color picker to pick a color for your stroke, and that's it right there. So we just added a stroke color, and I could choose to change like a green, and you see that that changes to green, and you could choose to increase the weight. So basically that's something about color. You could do color to a whole lot of things, and here we have the color being talked about. We are still going to talk more about color, but I don't want you to feel new whenever I'm talking about colors. As you can see, we have different layers right here. So we're going to talk more about all these later on, but basically I just told you about color and color pickers and the use of color pickers. You use them to pick colors from anything, maybe image or any canva, any color you feel like you don't know what to do about. Is that you use your RGB calculator, use your X color codes, or you use your color picker to pick them. And basically that's all about colors. I'm going to see you in the next lesson. See you there.